Imagine remembering every single moment of your life, every conversation, every face you've ever seen, every embarrassing mistake. It might sound like a superpower, but scientists say it would actually ruin your brain. Because your brain wasn't designed to remember everything. It was designed to forget. There are people with an extremely rare condition called highly superior autobiographical memory, or HSAM. They can remember ordinary days from years, even decades ago with incredible detail. Ask them what they did on a random date, and they can often tell you exactly where they were, what they wore, what the weather was like, and even how they felt. At first, it sounds like the perfect ability. But many people with HSAM say it isn't a gift. It's exhausting. Painful memories never truly fade. Embarrassing moments remain as vivid as the day they happened. Arguments, heartbreak, loss. They relive them over and over again. And that's because forgetting isn't a bug in your brain. It's one of its most important features. Your brain isn't a giant hard drive storing perfect copies of your life. It's more like a gardener. Every single day, it trims away connections it no longer needs while strengthening the ones that matter. Scientists call this synaptic pruning. Imagine your memories as paths through a forest. Every time you remember something or practice a skill, you walk down that path again. The trail becomes wider, clearer, easier to follow. But the paths you stop using slowly disappear beneath leaves and overgrown plants. Eventually, it's almost as if they were never there. Your brain does this because it's constantly making room for what matters most. If it tried to keep every tiny detail forever, it would become overwhelmed. But here's something even stranger. You never actually remember the original memory. Every time you remember something, your brain rebuilds it. Imagine opening an old document on your computer. You read it, you make tiny changes without realizing it, then you save it again. The next time you open it, you're no longer reading the original version. Your memories work in a surprisingly similar way. Each time you recall one, small details can change. Sometimes you fill in missing pieces. Sometimes emotions reshape what happened. Sometimes your brain mixes two memories together. Over time, the memory slowly evolves. This is one reason eyewitness testimony isn't always as reliable as people think. Even honest people can remember the same event very differently. Now think about what happens while you sleep. You might think your brain simply shuts down for the night. It doesn't. In many ways, it's working even harder. While you sleep, your brain sorts through everything that happened during the day. Some memories are strengthened. Some are connected to older memories. Others are quietly erased. Scientists believe sleep acts like an editor. It decides which information is useful enough to keep and which details can safely disappear. That's why getting enough sleep is so important for learning. Without it, your brain struggles to organize new memories. But why delete anything at all? Imagine remembering every tree you've ever passed, every license plate, every face in every crowd, every smell, every sound, every word you've ever heard. Making even the simplest decision would become incredibly difficult. Your brain would drown in useless information. Forgetting allows you to focus on what actually matters. In other words, your brain isn't trying to remember everything. It's trying to remember what's useful. And perhaps the strangest discovery of all, some of your memories may never have happened. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus spent decades studying human memory. Her research showed that people can develop vivid memories of events that never actually occurred. In some experiments, participants became convinced they had been lost in a shopping mall as children, even though it never happened. They remembered details, emotions, even conversations. Their brains had quietly created an entirely new memory. It's a reminder that memory isn't a recording, it's a reconstruction. Every time you remember the past, you're rebuilding it, not replaying it. Maybe forgetting isn't one of the brain's weaknesses. Maybe it's one of evolution's greatest inventions. Every day, your brain quietly decides what deserves to stay and what deserves to disappear. Without that ability, you couldn't learn efficiently, you couldn't adapt to new experiences, and you might never move on from your worst moments. The strangest part? While you've been watching this video, your brain has already started deciding which parts of it You'll still remember tomorrow.